Welcome to Bunnyfish Crafts. I'm your host, Heather, known as Bunnyfish on Ravelry and Plurk. Today is March 4th, 2013, and this is episode 17, Under the Wire. Grab some sticks and string and come sit with me. I'm recording a little bit early today because I made plans yesterday to hang out at my normally scheduled recording time, and I didn't even think, I record Mondays at 2. My best friend was like, hey, you want to hang out after I get off of work? And I was like, sure. When do you get off work? She said 2, and I was like, okay, yeah. I didn't even think about it. She did call me this morning and say that she was going to be working till 3 because she went into work an hour late because she was knitting and didn't realize it was time to go. So she was an hour late, but her job doesn't care. You just go and work your 8-hour shift and whatever. But I thought it was funny that she was late because of knitting, since I just taught her how to knit, what is it now, 2 weeks ago or something? A week ago? I don't know. She came to knitting yesterday, and her hat was, by the end of the Stitch and Bitch, her hat was to 6 inches, and it needs to be to 9, so she's making good progress. She will probably finish it next couple days. I think it was at 4 when we got there, and then at 6 when we left. So she could finish it today if she works on it while we're hanging out. Was last week the week that my niece was sick? I can't remember. For those of you who follow me on Plurk, or my friends, you may have heard that my niece was really, really sick. She went into the ER 2 nights in a row. She's fine. She was released the day after the second ER visit with type A and B flu and a kidney infection, but she's good. Yeah, that was this last week. Wow. I feel like so much has happened in the last week, and also because I'm recording an hour early, 2 hours early actually, I feel a little bit rushed, even though I'm not at all rushed. Although I think part of the agitation is because the children aren't down for quiet time like they normally are, so I can hear them running around upstairs, but they should be good because Mara's favorite show is on for the next 35 minutes. Hopefully I can get this done before they decide to jump in, which means I should probably get talking about actual things. First, I want to say thank you to Diane of Knittables. I entered my snuggles into her drawing, and I won a prize. I won an ebook, and I chose the Fellowship of the Socks ebook, which is amazing, and I can't wait to start knitting a pair of socks out of it. I really wanted to start knitting a pair of socks out of Fellowship of the Socks this weekend, but I cast it on so many other things that I kind of didn't have time. But thank you, Diane, so much. I'm really, really, really excited. I've been looking at the ebook for a while now. See, feeling rushed. There's going to be a lot of ums today. The Mother's Day craft along is going on. Anything made between now and May 13th, 2013 for a mom, which any definition that you have of mom fits. Anything made between then, it can be a work in progress or a new project as long as it's a RAV sanctioned craft. Tag your prize with Bunnyfish, not Bunnyfish, with BPH MOM for Bunnyfish Mom. And the prize is still to be determined. I have some ideas floating around, but not sure yet. There's less than 10 votes on what the prize should be. So go ahead and go vote, and I will make a decision, in the next while. There's still a long time before the craft along ends, so I'm not really that worried on deciding a prize. Speaking of prizes, I'm doing a Nooch Fiber giveaway, and it ends a week from today. I will close the thread right before I start recording next Monday, which will probably be 2 o'clock my time, Eastern. Is it standard time or daylight savings time right now? I don't know. I can't remember. But whatever, 2 o'clock my time is when I usually record. Try to get your entry in before then, just in case I make plans to hang out with my best friend. I would say next Monday in the morning time would be your best bet to get your entry in. Anyway, to enter, go to Nutri-Fiber on Etsy and choose your favorite yarn. I don't think there is any fiber up right now, but there might be a fiber update soon. But anyway, pick your favorite yarn or fiber. If I draw you and it's still in the shop, I will just buy it right then and get it sent out to you after it gets to me, because I'll be placing an order for stuff for me. If your pick is no longer in the shop, I will get in contact with you about ordering something else. All of the details were posted on the blog last week, so if you're going to enter, reply to that post, and there's also a link, or you can post on the blog or in the Ravelry group. There's a thread for that. And all the information is on the blog and in the Ravelry group. So wherever you go, you'll find the information, because I feel like I'm leaving things out about it. So on to stuff that I made. I have a handful of finished objects. I finished Amanda's Gray Thigh Highs. I sent them off on Wednesday, I think. I'm pretty sure they got there on Friday, so I'm pretty sure I sent them on Wednesday. And I am either going to embed a picture or put it over my talking. I'm really going to try to have it up on the screen while I'm talking about the pattern and stuff, but we'll see if I can figure out how to make that happen. So either way, here it comes. I used the Drops 117-12 pattern, which is cables and lace in Fable. I think that's what it's called. And I used Serenity Sock in charcoal with a US size 1 2.25 millimeter needle. I finished the last can cozy for my mom's friend Kurt in Red Heart Super Saver bright yellow, and I'm pretty sure this black is also Red Heart Super Saver, but it could just be random black acrylic. It didn't have a tag. I used US size H 5.0 millimeter. That is crocodile stitch. I didn't use a pattern. I just made a can cozy. I made a sleep sack, a red one. My sister watched the podcast last week and saw this and said, "Can you make one for my friend's shower? It's in 2 weeks." And I said, okay, do you want the matching hat? And she said, yes. So, sleep sack and hat. My goal was to get them both done by the podcast today. I finished the sleep sack last night, cast on the hat last night, got a couple rounds in, and I started this on, I don't know, Wednesday, I'm going to guess. So, I'm hoping that this gets to her before the baby shower. I'm going to be sending this out today after I finish recording. Pattern is by Teresa Cole. I used Karen 1 pound in a red colorway. It's probably just red, but again, it didn't have the ball band. The sleep sack was on a US size 7, 4.5 millimeter needles, and the hat was on US 6, 4.0 millimeter needles. It's supposed to be newborn size, but I feel like this is huge for a newborn's head. Maybe not, but I feel like it's huge. I feel this is more like what Mara was wearing when she was a year old. I'm pretty sure this hat could still fit Mara. That's fine though. I mean, as you can see, you can roll it up a little bit so they can make it smaller to fit the baby's head. And then when he gets bigger, you can roll it down. So hopefully it'll last him a while. I also made snuggles. I finished 2 snuggles. One is a miter square snuggle that still needs the ends woven in. I didn't do that because I am a slacker. Mostly I wanted to get it off of the needles and just didn't weave in the ends. So here it is. Can you see the whole thing? No. I'm gonna hope that you can see the whole thing because I can't see you at all to check. It is 20 inches by 26 inches. So not quite the medium size, but kind of. I mean, is that right? 20 by 26? I don't know, something like that. It's very close to that measurement. Used Caron 1-pound remnants from my mom and US size 8, which is 5.0 millimeter needle to make that. And sorry if you can hear the children being crazy. And I sewed a snuggle, which this was an old towel. It's one of our less beautiful towels that is getting on in its old age. I actually need to trim this off. It's sewn around so that the hole won't grow, but I need to trim that off. You know, it's just getting a little raggedy in its old age. But I folded it in half and then sewed around the edges and then sewed a T down the center so that it won't flop around. And I figure if my cats keep trying to climb under my sink to snuggle on the towels, then another animal won't mind snuggling on a towel that's a little bit old. I will be right back after I go check on the baby. She needed milk. That's what that was about. That is everything that I finished, so on to what I'm still working on. I'll start with stuff that you've seen before, which I think is just thing that you've seen before. So, black thigh highs. Oh, you can kind of see them today. That's exciting. I have 2, I didn't make much progress this week. I went from there. I have 2 pattern repeats left on the leg and then the foot. So it's getting pretty close to done, which is good. I want to finish this and the other black thigh high and make significant progress on the blue thigh highs by the end of the month. When you see everything else I'm working on, you'll probably think I'm crazy, but that's okay. The black thigh highs are the Cinderella Secret Stockings by Ruth Ramadan, made out of Knit Picks Stroll in black on US size 2 2.75 millimeter needles. And oh, the next thing on my list I'm not showing you. I started the socks that I'm making for Pattern Whisperer. Even though you've already seen the pattern, which is the star pattern that I designed, and you've even seen the yarn worked up in the colorway, which is Premier Serenity Sock in the colorway Surf, I'm not going to show you because I want the final product to be a surprise, even though like she already knows how it's going to look more or less. So I'm not showing you. I am working that on US size 1, which is 2.25 millimeter needles. And I will show a picture after I hear that she receives them. They're not very far right now. I have the cuff done. But hopefully this week I can knock out the rest of the leg. I am test knitting the Cursed Cable Socks for Melissa, Meltran Designs. And I'm actually turning the heel right now, so I'm hoping to finish the heel, and then I would like to get this sock this one done this week, but I don't know how realistic that is. We'll see how it goes. I really, really like the pattern. Once she releases it, I will let you guys know so you can make it yourself, because let me give you another little look. It's really, really pretty. I'm using the Knit Picks Essential Oak Kettle Dyed and a US size 1, 2.25 millimeter needles. These are the socks for Brian. Last week I said I was going to probably use a Cookie A pattern for Brian, but then Melissa sent me the pattern to test knit for her, and I was like, oh, that'll be perfect. So that's what I'm making there. I started my mom's shawl, which is going to be the Lazy Katie by Bridget Freyer. And I'm using Ice Yarns Angora Premium in Rose Pink. It's 80% Angora, 20% acrylic, so it sticks to itself. So right now I'm having yarn barf issues. It's not really a problem, it's just, yarn barf kind of not very far yet. But, it's starting to look like it might want to be a something someday. And I'm working this on a US size 8 5.0 millimeter needle. It's a lot of almost only stockinette, so I'm trying to force myself to do like 3 sets of rows a day so that it can get done someday. I'm not a huge fan of stockinette, flat or in the round. I like to be doing things. I also started the Mystery Knit-Along shawl that Josh Ricks, I meant to look it up before I recorded, and Josh, I know I've VK'd with you several times, but I haven't actually asked you how to pronounce your last name, so I'm sorry if you're watching this and you're like yelling at the screen the pronunciation. Please tell me in the next VKN and I'll fix it. Anyway, it's the Graphic Infection Mystery Knit-Along, and it's for the Zombie Knitpocalypse retreat, which I am not going to yet. I hope to figure out a way to make it work, but, stay-at-home mom with 2 small children, not living close to family, it's kind of hard to figure out how to go somewhere for an entire weekend, even though I would really, really, really love to go because I've never been on a retreat. So if I can finagle my way there, I'll be going. If not, I'll just live vicariously through the podcasts of all of the people I hang out with in VKNs telling me how awesome it was. But anyway, I'm making the shawl, and I am making it out of yarn from Nooch Fiber. This is the Totally Goth colorway, and this is the Stomping Grapes, using a US size 5 needle, which is 3.75 millimeters, and are you ready? If you don't want to see what it looks like, look away. Okay, it's not really even the whole thing. It's the first part of the first clue. It's like the setup. I haven't even started my second color yet, but I really love how this color is working up. So that's where I am. Next week it will be much bigger because I really, really like it and want to work on it, but I set everything aside so I could finish that hat and sleep sack for my sister. And, I made a half of a sock. All of the new things were started on the first or after that. Okay, so looking at my stuff, looking at my notes, I feel all over the place. I finished Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. It was really good. I didn't know that just came out in movie form with Keira Knightley. So I guess now I'm going to watch it because I liked the book, and I kind of like the things I feel that things that Keira Knightley are in are very hit or miss for me. Either I really, really like them or I'm like... So probably watch that sometime soonish. The book was really good, though. Go listen to it or actually read it if you can sit down and read classics. I can't because my children will jump on me, and so I only read young adult novels in book form. But I really like to read in book form. It's just, children. So since I finished Anna Karenina, I started a new book on CD. Shanghai Girls by Lisa See. It is about two girls from Shanghai in the 1950s. I'm not very far in it. I listened to the first disc out of, how many discs are you? 12 or 13? Oh, 11. 11 discs. I've listened to the first one. It's pretty good so far. I will let you know more about it as I get further through it. I am still reading The Haunting of Elizabeth Cray by Chris Wooding. So good. It is fantastic. If you like creepy things, because there's ghosts and other supernatural beings, and there's a cult and stuff. It's really good. I find it much creepier than Malice. Even though I got really creeped out from Malice, it was totally just because there was a character with my name in it, and I read it in the middle of the night, that first chapter. This one is really, really creepy, and I'm much more interested in just reading through it. I'm so distracted by my children. I apologize. I'm only about a little over halfway through it. And yeah, I don't have anything else to say about it. So, on to my 3 things. I feel like this is a really short episode, and I'm really sorry about that because I had a lot of stuff to show you, but I just don't have a lot of things to talk about, I guess. I do. I just can't focus on anything at all. So, my 3 things, I'm going to talk about knitting socks specifically, and 3 different types of ways to do it. Well, I guess not 3 different types of ways to do it, but 3 different needle types. First I'm going to talk about is this 9-inch circular, which this is my first time knitting a sock with a 9-inch circular, and I think I like it. I didn't start the toe on the circular. I started the toe with double points because I felt that it would be really, really fiddly and wasn't sure how to make that work with double points. I'm sure there's a way to do it, but I just didn't, or on a 9-inch circular. I just didn't do it. I just had double points instead. So started the toe on double points, but all of this loveliness is done on the 9-inch circular needle, including the heel, which I'm working on right now. And I really like it, especially for this, because it's just one cable section, so it's not a lot of fiddling around with the cable. There's not, as you can see, there's not a lot of room to play with moving around stitches and stuff on it. So I don't think I would make, cable thigh highs on them, especially because it's only 9 inches and the stitches would get so bunched. But if I did vanilla socks, which I've done 2 pairs of vanilla socks out of the 25-ish pairs that I've made, if I someday decide that I just want to do vanilla stripy socks, which seems to be the cool thing for a lot of people, I will probably pick up the 9-inch circ, because it's just like knitting a hat on a 16-inch circ, because you just go and go and go and go. So highly recommend that if you just do vanilla socks. Another option is a 40-inch circular, and I like to do 2 at a time magic loop for socks that have pattern repeats that are difficult to keep track of, or like I've made ribbed socks, and instead of measuring the length because I don't like when they're off by even a little bit. It just bothers me. Even if it's 2 rounds off, when you measure it flat, it can seem fine, but then when you actually put them on, you can tell there's a little bit of difference. I prefer to do them 2 at a time, even though I personally feel that doing socks 2 at a time takes way longer than the other 2 methods of knitting, just because there's so much fiddling with the cable itself. I mean, it's not hard. It's a really easy method of making socks, and once you're done with both socks, you're done. And you don't have to measure to make sure that they're the same size. They just are. So I really like it for that respect. I just feel like socks made this way take so long. They feel like they go on forever for me personally. The other method, which is how I taught myself how to knit. My first knitting project was a pair of socks, and I did them on double points. So maybe that's why I'm biased towards them, but I actually really like double points. Anytime there's a pattern where it's really easy to count the repeats to know how long to make the sock, like this has pattern repeats. That's how I know how long the second sock is going to be, because I'll do the same amount of pattern repeats. I like to do them on double points. I just feel like they fly by. There's not, like, the needles are not super long. They're long enough to keep the stitches on, but not so long that I have to do a whole bunch of sliding of stitches to work them. I really like double points personally. I think they're my favorite way to do socks. And I use them whenever possible, honestly. I just feel like the socks fly so much faster than 2 at a time. I reserve judgment on the 9-inch because, this is my first sock on the 9-inch, and it's not even a full sock yet. I like it. I just don't know how it fits in my ranking system of what I like best. That's everything I have to talk about this week, I think. I hope you've enjoyed the episode, and I hope you made something fantastic with your sticks and string. Thank you for watching. See you next week.